In the quiet of a college town, a young woman dreams of music and movement. She studies dance. She believes the world is kind. She believes every morning brings light. She has friends. She has plans. She has laughter in her voice and rhythm in her steps. Her name is Cheryl. And in the winter of 1978, her life will change in a way she never imagined. There is no warning, only a still night, and the sound of distant wind through the trees. There are shadows on the wall, and then there is darkness, and in that darkness something terrible happens. But this is not the story of what was done to her. This is the story of how she lived, the story of how a single breath can mean the difference between ending and beginning, the story of how courage is born from silence when the world collapses. When the morning comes, she wakes in a hospital bed, her body weak, her thoughts drifting through fog. Voices move around her like echoes. She cannot dance, she cannot hear clearly. But she is alive, and that single truth becomes the heartbeat of everything that follows. Her friends hold her hand, her parents whisper her name, reporters call her brave, though she feels anything. But she is frightened, she is broken, yet somewhere beneath that fear a spark survives, and she decides that this will not be the end. She will not be only a name in a case file. She will not be remembered as a victim. She will be remembered as a survivor. Days pass like years. She learns to move again, to speak again, to laugh again. Her world is smaller, but her spirit begins to grow. She watches sunlight spill through the hospital window and feels the warmth on her face. She thinks of dancing not as something she lost, but as something that still lives inside her. When she closes her eyes, she can still hear music, not with her ears, but with her soul, and that becomes enough for her to keep going. People around her see the courage before she does. They say she is strong. They say she is an inspiration, but strength is not what she feels. She feels pain, she feels fear and confusion. And yet she wakes up each day and tries again. And maybe that is what true strength really is, not the absence of fear, but the decision to rise in spite of it. Time moves slowly, but it moves. She learns to rebuild her life one quiet day at a time. The investigation continues. The world watches. The name of the man who hurt her becomes infamous. But Cheryl refuses to let that name define her. She will not give him her story. Her story belongs to her alone. She focuses on recovery, on rediscovering joy in the smallest things, the touch of her dog's fur, the sound of rain on the roof, the laughter of her friends, the way her mother smiles when she walks into the room. These moments become her medicine. Years later, she sits in a courtroom and faces the man who tried to erase her from the world. The air is heavy, the eyes of strangers are upon her. But she feels no hatred, only calm. She is living proof that evil cannot. When she listens as the evidence is told, she hears her own name spoken by others. But it no longer frightens her because she has already reclaimed it. She has already survived. When the trial ends and the world moves on, she continues her quiet journey. She does not seek fame. She does not write books. She does not give endless interviews. She simply lives her life. And that simplicity becomes her victory. She finds work, she builds a home, she surrounds herself with music again. Sometimes she dances alone in her living room, feeling the rhythm pulse through her bones, the rhythm of life, the rhythm of survival. Years pass, decades even, and the name Cheryl Thomas becomes a whisper in history. But her spirit remains a beacon to anyone who has ever faced darkness and wondered if the light would return, because it always does, though sometimes softly. It returns in kindness and healing, in the steady beat of a heart that refused to stop. Has weathered, unaware of the history carried within her gentle steps. And that is how she prefers it. Her peace is private, her strength invisible, yet it radiates outward, touching others in unseen ways. Every time she chooses kindness, every time she chooses hope. As years stretch into decades, she grows older, but her eyes still hold that same spark, the same quiet defiance against the darkness that once tried to take her. She watches the world change. She sees new generations learn about the dangers of blind trust, about the importance of awareness and empathy. And she feels a quiet satisfaction knowing that her survival helped bring understanding, helped shape a safer world, even if only a little. In the stillness of her home, she sometimes closes her eyes and imagines the stage she once dreamed of. She imagines herself dancing again, graceful, strong, unbroken. She imagines the applause of unseen angels who watched her fight her way back to life. And in that imagined moment, she is free, truly free. This story is not about fear, it is about resilience, it is about the human heart. And its refusal to give in. It is about how even in the face of darkness, there is always light waiting to be found. Cheryl Thomas did not choose what happened to her, but she chose what came after. She chose to survive, she chose